The evolution of the mental world goes much quicker than the evolution of the physical world. We are going to be talking through some notes that I took on a 3-month ayahuasca diet, where they give you very clean, usually plant-based diet, a little bit of animal protein in the form of eggs, and plant medicine that cleanses and that heals, both plants that are non-psychoactive, that work on the physical level, as well as psychoactive plants as well. So with that, we are going to read through those notes that I took not exactly, but about 6 years ago. And I'm now reading them for the first time in years. The evolution of the mental world goes much quicker than of the physical world. The evolution of a new animal species takes millions of years to get into balance with the totality of the system of the planet. It takes time to figure out lifespan, how many eggs to lay, calves to breed, not calves. Care, depending on the number of predators, danger of everyday life, and so on. Some species that were in imbalance might have died out in the process of integration in the system of the totality. But right now, every animal species that is at its right spot in balance with the whole, because only species being in one with life, that is with the totality of the system, can eventually survive. Our mental entity called ego can be seen as a new species, only that to take time to evolve is much quicker. For an animal to breed from one generation to another takes days. For some insects, takes days. For some insects, up to month for mammals, and 2 years. Up to month for mammals, and 2 years for an elephant. For a thought to connect with another thought and to be inseminated, befruchtet, and in that breeding a new thought, it takes seconds. This is how learning works. One idea, one thought connects to another thought or idea that is already understood, and the third one is formed. In the same way as two adult mammals come together and form one or multiple third entities. We see it in the world of science and IT. Ideas are getting more and more diverse and divided. Also on a psychological, egoic level. Because we have now much more ideas about ourselves to draw from, the complexity of mental illness in the West has dramatically increased, and the speed has as well. But eventually, after many periods of trial and error, we will come into balance as a species, having changed and impacted the existing system, dramatically altering it, but eventually either getting into balance, one with life, or going extinct. While animals are part of the manifest form world, come out of spirit but not knowing it, having come out of spirit but not knowing it, we humans have the capacity to unite spirit, world of the unmanifest potential and the manifest forms. Man, my eyes are falling out. What's happening here? Am I squinting? Because we have a mental world, we are given the universe opportunity to distinguish between the seemingly real world of the manifest form and the unreal mental world. At the end, both of those realms exist in the sense that they they came out of the spirit world, they exited. In that way, they are able to distinguish in degrees of reality. And this distinctive power gives us access to the spirit realm of the unmanifest and uncreated, which can only be felt, not understood or articulated. We have a number of unique gifts that make it possible for us to know spiritual truth. The distinction between the mental and the form world, that being able to distinguish between degrees of reality. The ability to imagine what it would have been like if, and what could be if. The ability to identify, to connect with the mental world, in that being able to experience emotions and bodily reaction so that the unmanifest thought can become a manifest form. Actually, a thought is also manifest. I, at the moment, just lack a better word, okay? This is great content, I like it. It's great. Inferiority. In many animal species, we find rituals and behaviors to sort out picking, feeding, and mating orders, and to define superiority or inferiority. We have an animalistic part as well, as we are part of nature. Males compete for females, and females compete for attractiveness. It is normal to find people that we are inferior to in one way of looking at things from one perspective. A problem arises when the inferiority in one situation triggers the deeply seated feeling of general inferiority on the level of being, not situations. We have to get in contact with our real inferiorities, especially today where comparison is not only within the local group of people but worldwide. You find always somebody who is superior to you based on one characteristic, as we have an idea of an I, which animals don't. They know themselves as separate, but they don't have the idea of an I with certain mentally assigned qualities. We tend to infer a generality of inferiority of the I, that is the totality of my being, from the inferiority evoking situation. So to integrate inferiority complexes, the way is to not find strength in which you are better than somebody else or taking away inferiority, but to meet it. To acknowledge that you were inferior in that particular situation, feeling the feeling of that, but knowing at the same time that as inferiority evoking situations cannot serve as an inference of the totality of your being. Comfort and the link to the egoic entity. This is great. Inferiority. This is great. Very nice. Very nice. Comfort and the link to the egoic entity. Many egoically driven people tend to flock to California. Partly the reason is because outside warmth compensates for the lack of inner warmth. It is due to contraction, which is brought about by not listening to the heart. Doing something that is out of alignment leads to contraction in the same way as our throat contracts as we drink strong alcohol. This is not in alignment with what our body needs. These contractions lead to energetic blockages in the body. So a feeling of inner coldness is there, inner tension, which is compensated for by outside warmth. This lack of innerly felt comfort can also be compensated for by food, drugs, etc. All those things that give us comfort on the physical level. Compensated for by. Opposed to that, there are release and relief patterns that relieve the mental level. TV and series watching, obsessive thoughts about little things, take away the focus on the major heavy problems. Gambling, meeting friends, sex, meaningless work, etc. All those things help to keep the mind busy and prevent the real topics that need to be looked at from arising. Self-healing does not mean you are healing yourself, as in you're doing something to heal yourself, but rather that your entirety is healing by itself, provided that you don't interfere and do something. Self-worth doesn't mean how much do I feel I am worth as a means of stating or perceiving your value, but rather does the value come from myself as opposed to coming from something from the outside or from others' reactions towards me. Letting go implies some doing. It is more like allowing it to go away, because this is what will naturally happen if we don't obstruct. Change is life. Thoughts and emotions are volatile. Letting go could be mistakenly understood as pushing out in a severe form of egoic misinterpretation, or cutting the cord as a less severe form. Both imply a doing of some kind. Also, going with the flow of things can be misunderstood as some doing. It is rather non-obstruction of what will naturally happen anyway. For example, if you feel a certain way in one moment and it changes and you cling to a previous emotion in an effort to keep feeling this way, because we have a secondary judgment and assessment of those feelings, does feeling this way match how I want to be? Because I seek the implications on one polarity and feel the implications on another, and how I should be. If this is not the case, we tend to automatically cling to the previously felt feeling. Or we try to bring about a certain desired feeling, but both has its roots in the mind. An association pathway that was formed long ago and is still active now. Because of certain associations, we run from what is here right now or try to alter it so that it matches the idea that arise out of those previously formed association pathways. We need to understand that our mentality has little scope of taking information into consideration. But when we feel like an ego, we act like an ego. If we feel and have understood that we are nothing but energy, that which is energetically attracted in the very moment it realizes to be the right thing at the right time, and it does not need to be altered or obstructed. But if we home, yeah. But if we feel like a mental concoction of ideas, thus different from everything else, we tend to think that some things happening to us are good for us and others are not. Because our love for our own parts is exclusive, we exclude life circumstances on the outside from our love and acceptance. But it always goes both ways. The more we realize that the mental concept of who we are is not exclusively us, we feel more alive. And the more alive we feel, the more we are able to distinguish between the false and the real. Acceptance is neutral. It has no positive feeling component to it. It does not mean liking what is, but rather to fully let what is arise into awareness without attaching a label of positivity or negativity to it. Forgiveness is a shade of emotion that comes about naturally when a topic is resolved. It does not need to be brought about. It is something that arises naturally and spontaneously as a result. It is not the means that we need to train ourselves in. Also, there are backwards approach applies. We want to figure out and resolve why we are unforgiving, what misperceptions and stories we have not unearthed and looked at and are still in the dark and work energetically as taken to be true. In the same way as happiness and fulfillment, compassion, love, restfulness, self-acceptance, etc. don't need to be brought about. They arise naturally when what is preventing them is resolved. Very good content. Forgiveness is important, but what is most important is to start off with the honesty of hate, blame, and anger towards those who we want to forgive. Also, instead of only forgiving them, finding the parts that needs to ask for forgiveness. Because when there's tension in a human relationship, there are always two involved. Be a permissionary. Allow everything to be there and transform other motherfuckers. Yeah, okay, got it. Transform others. Alright, got it. Be a permissionary. That's part of our puns. Okay, and further we go. I can smell the success. It is palpable. We are getting deal flow. It is fine. Thought is optional. Everything works without. But some positive thinking and calculating is not bad. Thinking in general is not bad and is not to be made into something to avoid at all. There's no better or worse, just thinking makes it so. There's no superior or inferior, just our thinking makes it so. All moments are created equal. It's only the egoic entity that wants some and doesn't want others. Life for most people is experienced as rather hostile. How you treat one moment is how you treat every moment. There it shows general attitude towards life. Products, strategy, tactics are all those techniques or decisions or goal setting procedures that you will find out there meant to change your life. Strategy is stepping back, taking the big picture look. Alright, earplugs. Nun voran, folgendermaßen. Alright, well, tactics, all those techniques or decisions or goal setting procedures, yet you will find out there to change your life. Strategy is stepping back, taking the big picture look. Tactics is doing the right thing. Strategy is doing things right. And furthermore, doing the right things right. Without the strategies, you could either be doing the wrong things or doing the right things wrong. This is great. Like, it really is great. Awesome. Tactics go into complexity, strategy comes out of the basics. Yeah, this is like as good as it gets, man. Tactics goes out of complexity, strategy comes back to the basics. This is good for the puns. Now we're rolling, now we are rolling. The content is starting to happen. I'm going to have so much fun this afternoon, this Saturday night, making content. Fucking poor people running around in the discotheque, getting knocked on the head, all drunk, and I'm knocking my own head. No, man. Content. This is great, man. This is amazing. I would not be drunk in a discotheque right now. I'd much rather be here, like, for real, man. That's how my life has shifted. I really, really mean this. I would much rather be here doing this than running around some dog shit fucking nightclub. Like, no. Tactics would be this one goal-setting procedure, that one seminar, this one online course, etc. Strategy, sleep or rest, eat, rest, meditation, understanding life itself, cultivating higher consciousness, fulfillment. Because with strategy, every tactic gets much easier. Tactics means seeing the little details, which is essential to handle complexity of life circumstances and the world of form. Strategy means being aligned with the big picture and being able to see it. Putting in effort on strategy means to be able to let go and stop forcing a certain outcome, to surrender attachment and step back. People who are unhappy, poor, and unhealthy haven't learned the lesson of taking time to work on their strategy to live life. Trauma healing, rest, nutrition, and so on have not been made a priority to give thoughts to. One of many complex reasons is that they are consumed by tactics. The day seems to have no minutes left to do strategic planning because low-quality rest time such as binge drinking or TV watching is needed in high quantities for recovery from the stress of everyday life. There seem to be no energy left to sit down and write out the confusing thoughts one's experiences, and they lack a positive outlook for the future. So let's break this down, shall we? In the same way as we saw this video with Luke Belmar going through and telling you don't sleep throughout the day. But what do you do if you actually feel this urge? Because it can't be all just willpower in the sense of like just make the opposite decision. Yes, you can, but let me break this down for you what that could be actually meaning. When you are tired throughout the day, it could mean it basically could mean that either your energies are being repressed, and so it just makes you tired because you're not expressing yourself. It could also mean that you use the sleep throughout the day in order to find some comfort because you're actually feeling isolated. It could also be because you really need more rest because your nutrition is not on point. There are many reasons why one would sleep throughout the day. It could also be because you're really running away from a problem. So in order to rise to that level of what Luke Belmar just explained, where you're not sleeping throughout the day and where you feel effortlessly, naturally inspired, because for him it's not hard to get out of bed. For me it's either. And for you and other people it probably isn't either. But for some people it really is. It's hard to get out of bed and incorporate the practice of doing that. And so we flow advertisement, making it relatable to people. Not many feel the connection to their own problems when it is called inferiority, but feeling bad when you lose, feeling bad when somebody is better than you, feeling bad when you lose an opportunity. Those resemble life situations. Those go into the ads, then those 5 ads all lead to one ebook, after which my 7 major lessons liquidation offer comes. Exactly, egoic entity. What is a thought? We hear music and don't take it personal. But when we hear thoughts as voices in our head and we take it personal as if it says something about us, identification means that we pay attention. Identification basically means what do we feel identical with, right? Undivided with. Identification means we pay attention. Why do we pay attention? Because we deem it meaningful. Marketers have understood this. If you listen to a radio program's advertising, you'll notice that they use voices, words, tonalities that draw us in. Because of the way it is presented, we deem the information meaningful. In the same way we deem our thoughts meaningful. Problems. Probleme existieren immer nur in Relation. Unser menschliches Gehirn ordnet sie durch Vergleiche ein. Wenn Sie zum Arzt gehen und der Ihnen eine Krebsdiagnose stellt und dann 2 Wochen später erst das Ergebnis korrigiert und sagt, ja, mein Magengeschwür, Sie sind sehr, sehr dankbar und glücklich. Ja, Sie haben nur okay. Wenn Sie allerdings zum Arzt gehen und er sagt, Sie sind vollkommen gesund und 2 Wochen später sagt Ihnen die Partei, das Proben wurden vertauscht und Sie haben doch ein Magengeschwür, dann sind Sie sehr unzufrieden. Lasse den Vergleich los und die Probleme hören auf. Great quotes and concepts from previous writings. How you treat the moment is how you treat yourself, as the inside so shows our outside. Either you accept the moment as it is. When you do this habitually, you also accept yourself as you are. If you can't wait to get on and don't find peace in this moment, you haven't found peace in yourself and feel unrest in your body. If you're constantly trying to add something to the current moment you feel incomplete with, you treat your moment, how you treat your moment is how you treat yourself, in the same way as how you do one thing is how you do everything. It's consistent across moments because you are bringing the same attitude towards different things, because it's generally how you are interacting with yourself. And this is a reflection of how you interact with all of these different parts of yourselves, all of these different desires and all of that. So when that's then being presented to you, mirrored to you back by life itself, in other people, in people's behaviors, or just in the representational manifestation of that on the outside, you get reminded of your relationship with these parts within yourself that carry the same energy, and so you will react in the same way. How you treat each moment is how you treat yourself. When you treat yourself with unacceptance, or the majority of reactions, emotions, desires, wishes, parts of yourself that you have inside, you will likely treat the moment that presents to you on the outside with unacceptance as well. Grace is an active agent in every transformation. That's great. Healing is inevitable. We can't stop our bodies from healing. The body automatically employs behaviors, desires, and intuition to get back into balance. We have an interference mechanism at our disposal, though. That means we can interfere. We have an interference mechanism at our disposal, though. That means we can interfere with what would come naturally and effortlessly. So we can stand in our own way. But all we need to do is to stop standing in our way, then healing, unobstructed, can happen by itself. And this is one access doorway to our true nature. We are that which heals, not only that which is being healed, not only that which stands in the way. These are all parts of the whole, but that which heals, it most oftentimes not recognizes at the self. Not only that which is being healed, but also that which heals. That's really who we really are, the nature. Are you beating your heart? I mean, no, but like the force that's beating your heart, that's like the real you. That's really animating all of you, not just the mental concept of who you are. And here we are, life against ego. The ego is an encompassing of that. In the same way as the logo is not your business, right? It's just like, that's who they are. In the same way as your logo is not your business. It's just a representation of it. There's so much more, all the people and all the things that they have, that you get to deal with as a business owner. I'm sure you know if you're a business owner and and you have employees, especially on location, especially on site, especially if you have staff on site, then you know exactly what I mean. So in the same way as the business is not the logo, you are not your ego. There's much more going on behind the scenes, as you may know, but only if you're a business owner, right? So only if you have tasted life within yourself, you get what I'm saying. If you've never had a business, you're like, well, right? You lack the experiential knowledge. That's why it's so important to get to the experience of I am beyond the logo, I am beyond the ego, the concept of my mind, who I believe that I am, because it's safe in there. Making the logo is safe. To postpone starting and just make a nice logo, that's safe. You don't get to really test it with the real world, right? And be able to potentially needing to overcome rejection. But it's also foolish, right? I'm sure you've seen that. You know, people want to start a business and they spend 2 months on the logo. Well, that's extreme. They spend the first week on the logo. And you're like, yeah, that's a bad start, right? Other concepts to be extrapolated on, making it relatable to people. Not many will feel the connection to their own problems when it is called inferiority, but feeling bad when you lose, feeling bad when somebody is better than you, feeling bad when you lose an opportunity, those resemble life situations. Those go into the ads, and then those 5 ads all lead onto the ebook, which is the 7 Master Lessons liquidation offer that comes. Perseverance and persistence. No egoically staying in, but wisely following the heart and staying with what feels right without being discouraged. This is incredible products. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're taking all of this out and we're going to cut all of that, cut it, and put it right where my mouth is, into the content. That was weird. Well, but we do put that into the content sheet. Into a golden age, into the content sheet. Yes, I am the person that makes great content easily and effortlessly, and I'm talking like that, letting all of my energies flow into the right actions and directions, creating the content, talking to people, explaining to them how life is working them and how life works, decoding human behavior. That is what I'm speaking into existence, and I'm feeling like I'm waking up right now once again, going forward with a vlog. With the vlog. Aho! Alright, so that's here in the content. In the content. In the content. Alright, well. Yes. That all goes into the content. Into the content, exactly. So we put this down below. Into the content. Everything here is working out so well. I cannot believe it, and I'm cracking deals left and right. Lead flow. Yeah, hey. Alright, here. Other lessons. Got it. To be inserted. Great. Yes, sir. Let's go. Alright, cool. Well, that was the summary of the channelings in the first month of Pukalpa. That is amazing. Cool. Alright. Easy. Easy. It is a breathe. It is a breathe. Thoughts on my teachings. Let's go. We do this now. Let's go. Alright, be a permissionary. Allow everything to be there and transform others. How often have I said this? Thought is optional. Everything works out, but some positive thinking and calculating is not bad. Thinking in general is not bad, and it is not to be made into something to avoid at all. Motherfucker. There is no better or worse, just thinking makes it so. There is no superior or inferior, just our thinking makes it so. All moments are created equal. It is only your egoic entity that wants some and doesn't want others. You drag on and life bites you like a dragon. Life for most people is experienced as rather hostile. And life bites you. Fuck the dragon shit here. Abiding insanity. How you treat one moment is how you treat every moment. There it shows the general attitude towards life. Also, with knowing on the conceptual level, only thought through the mind, there will always be doubt, because we're in the paradigm of relativity, duality, and therefore every thought has an opposing thought, which is natural as thoughts are always incomplete. True knowing from the heart comes never through thought, but only from the stillness. Great content. Great content. I'm a producer, yes. Once we're out of concepts, we're in reality. Seek realization, not improvement. People are not there to meet my needs. Before any interactions, I make sure that I know that most people are acting out their conditioning and that I expect to be challenged by it. They treat me the way they learned it. This might, although, not be the way that I want it. Just because someone tells you something, it doesn't mean that you have to believe it. So also don't believe what your mind tells you. Oneness. All that I experience is not separate from me, but a continuation of my being. We interchange energy with everything around. We are all from one source. As separate leaves come out of the same tree, we have come out of the same earth. We all made on the same elements. The iron in our blood was originally in the ancient oceans, even before the asteroids that impacted our Earth, which was 700 million years ago. The oxygen that fed our cells is the waste product of bacteria that worked for billions of years in order to enrich our atmosphere. The heart is beaten by the same mysterious, automatic and non-controllable force that makes the wind blow or makes the earth turn. Life works through us, we are life. Great. But I guess we have had that already, have we not? Well, oneness. Yeah, I've read this before here. It's all good. The 5 big lessons in life to learn. For every point, what does it help me in my life and how does that help my enlightenment? What is life all about? We are life, life is our true home. Life is neutral, whether it seems friendly or unfriendly is dependent on our own vibration. We are only attractors of similar kinds of vibrations. If vibration is not suitable for the person, vocabulary, use positivity or negativity. Our brains are wired by positivity or negativity, and the one extensively felt is carved into our brain networks. What are we seeking for? At the end of the association pathways behind our dreams and desires is always the desire for happiness, fulfillment, positivity, relief, etc. So let's understand that what we are seeking is not the thing or the person, but the feeling of fulfillment or relief. We need to make the experience that utter fulfillment can be felt in the present moment, when the other lessons are learned and embodied also. When having felt that the search becomes less fear-driven and less personal because we have experienced that we haven't been looking for can be felt along the way. It's all self-experience. No knowledge in the mind will get you what you want. We have to admit that some things in life and life itself is not understood. There seems to be something that we can't understand, that we can only experience. In opening ourselves to that the mind is a tool but doesn't serve well in all cases, we get ready for self-experience. This is what is called spirituality. Everything our bodies and mind does it does for the purpose of getting back into homeostasis, into balance, into harmony, into alignment with life. Truthfulness, admitting mistakes, allowing yourself to make mistakes. Trust, surrender, acceptance transforms, better deforms. Positivity inspires. Spontaneity, think in options, not expectations. Expectations build disappointment when not met and attached when they are met, which gives rise to fear that this is not going to last, etc. Thinking in options means that something might happen or you might do something, but you are indifferent in the sense that good if it happens, good if it doesn't.